Hey everybody, this is Sheets, and I'm going to be going over the Honda Classic this week. The PGA stop at one of the more difficult courses. A lot of things go in the water, a lot of balls go all over the place, and couple that with probably a lot of the top 10 not playing, you're probably going to get, you're not going to get these minus 20 scores that you've been seeing the last several months, it seems. So, you know, if you're sweating and you're +1 or something like that, don't worry about it too much. You can still make the cut with a plus number probably this week, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be going over range by range, and I'm going to be doing this solo. And we're doing this a little bit early because I am going away tomorrow evening for the weekend. So I did want to get something posted here. So watch for withdrawals, watch for whatever. I will try to post to the Discord if anything major happens. And the ownerships I'm working with are not 100% tight yet. Those are actually going to be posted on the site within, I will update that, probably tomorrow, Wednesday night. But I have a pretty good idea of where ownership is going to go here. And I also do have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to do. So first of all, with the 10K and up range, again, this is just it's the way I play is maybe a little different, but I'm not playing Neiman. It's just I just don't like playing guys off of ceiling performances, and we could debate that whatever, but it's just a thing that I do in all forms of gambling, and it's just something that I'm going to do. There are exceptions. This past week I did play Scheffler, but there seems to be no reason why you have to play Neiman this week. I have him rated as probably, one of the top 5 values, but at 10-6, I'm just not gonna be playing. That's just the way it's gonna be. The top play that I have on the board, and this comes as no surprise for those of you who've been following my sheets and models and all this stuff, is Daniel Berger, and he always shows up, it seems, as the top play, because he's a really good golfer and his stats are really, really strong across all metrics, and all models kind of pick this up. Now, what you're going to have to contend with, though, is the reality that over the past couple of weeks, just things have been off. He had back tightness to the extent where he had to pull out of Pebble Beach, which was a tournament for where he was the defending champion, which should send off some red flags. And if you're pulling out of that type of event, there's probably something really wrong. And then the following week, I didn't pay attention to that, or I shouldn't say I didn't pay attention. I paid attention to it, ignored it, and played Berger at one of the top guys on the slate, and he missed the cut. So this is where you are fighting the battle of long-term statistics, long-term projections versus obvious short-term deficiencies. So you're going to have to decide where to go on this. For me, I'm going to fade it. And what's going to tip the scales there is I'm showing him about 20% owned. And the fact is that this is what people do. They're going to take the models, they're going to plug it in, and they're just going to play it. They always play it. Regardless of what his ownership projection looks like, it's just going to be higher. So I am probably going to end up fading him. And it's going to be a forced fade, meaning that I know that when I run my optimals, I'm going to get probably a whole bunch of Berger. The first ones I ran, I got almost 95% of them, but it's just the way, what's his name in the Discord said, it's just the way it's going to be. I'm going to end up fading Neiman. I'm going to end up fading Berger. That's it. I'm probably going to be playing about 30, 40 lineups. I am going away, so I'm not playing that many. And I am playing a couple of bigger ones, and neither Neiman nor Berger will be in any of them. Any of the bigger ones, that's for sure. Who am I going to have in the 10K range? I honestly am probably going to try to avoid it because the next best guy I have, and I do have Berger and Neiman as my top 10K plays, but for reasons I just mentioned, I'm not playing them. You got to go down to Sun JM at 11K. And I have him rated only about the 13th best value at a 25% ownership. That's just something I'm not going to do. So, what about Louis Oosthuizen? I would have thought that he would show up to be a better play, but he really just is. That's the best I can describe it across all my metrics and all my models and all this stuff. He's really showing up to be a pretty poor play this week at 10-8, so he's going to be avoided. And Koepka never shows up, and so he's going to be voided. So for me, this whole 10K range is kind of probably going to be off limits for me. 9K range. There are several very viable plays in here. I'm going to highlight the top ones. The top play of the 9K range is unfortunately going to be really high owned. Actually, the top two, and that's going to be Billy Horschel and Keith Mitchell. Both are really, really good plays. I have Horschel rated as kind of my second best overall value, second to Berger, who I'm not playing, and the third guy I'm not playing either. We'll get to him in a minute. Again, do as I say, not as I do, I guess. But so Horschel does rate. I mean, he's been playing really well all year, and he's for this field, he's reasonably priced, but he's 25% owned. So you don't really have to play him at 25%. So I don't know how much I'm going to get of him, but it's going to get to the point where I have to play somebody, right? If I'm not playing these 10K guys, I can't just play 8s. So I have to play some 9Ks. So I might end up eating some of that chalk. Another guy at 9,100 is going to be Keith Mitchell. He is probably going to be somewhat popular as well, but I do like that. And then the other two top 9K guys, one's getting a little bit scary, one a little, I guess they're both sort of scary. One is going to be Alex Noren. I like him. He's showing up as only about 10%, so he's not bad. And then the other one is Matthew Wolfe, and I'm hoping that he just gets lower ownership. And there's a reason why he should get lower ownership, sort of, because this is a course where you don't want to be all over the place. I mean, you end up finding the water, your whole freaking weekend is over. And Matthew Wolfe can certainly be erratic, but nonetheless, I'm just kind of hoping that undeniable quality to his game just kind of keeps his ownership low in a field like this, on a course like this, and I'm going to take a shot. So I do like Alex Noren, and I do like Matthew Wolfe as the top 9K guys. Okay, the 8K range. I like a couple of things in the 8K range, and none of them are particularly high. Actually, well, we'll go over it. My top rated guy right now would be Christian Bezuidenhout, and he is actually whatchamacallit, 9K, 8K flat, I suppose. So he's very, really strong for me, and I have him only about 10% ownership at this point in the content cycle. Let's put it that way. So I do like that. The other guy who is showing up at only 5% owned, this is probably going to be the guy that ruins the week for me, but it's just going to have to be, and that's going to be Gary Woodland. I'm saving one guy, by the way, for a few minutes, but so Gary Woodland, he's going to be 5% owned, and he's probably going to miss the cut, but I'm playing a whole bunch of him. He shows up as my third best 8K guy, and at 5% ownership, I am going to be plowing a lot of that. And then there's Brian Harman, who's probably going to be a little chalkier. He's at 15%. I like all three. And then you could go down even to Mackenzie Hughes. He looks good at 11K. The guy who's showing up is actually the top 8K guy. And again, I'm just not playing him. Is going to be Cameron Young. And again, he put up a ceiling performance this past week, despite him kind of fading on Sunday a little bit. And I just don't play guys off of ceiling performances like that. So I'm just not going to be playing him. Now, again, is that a little too stubborn? Yeah, probably. But these guys are all going to be owned. The guys I talked about, Neiman, Young, Berger, these guys that rate high for me that are going to be, that I'm just going to X or whatever. I'm just not going to play that much of, to say the least. If they were going to be under 10%, I might make an exception. So I thought Scheffler was going to come in a little lower owned last week, which is why I didn't do that. But for me, Cameron Young does rate to be the third best projected guy. And if you run optimals, you come up with him. But I mean, my own personal advice is to not play. That's the best I can describe it. Like say, true DFS is transparency, and that's just what I'm doing. All right, 7K range. There are a couple of guys that are pretty interesting, and one guy who It's extremely interesting. I don't really have him rated as such a high play, but I just can't resist the temptation to do this. We'll get to him in a second, but let's just first with the for me at least the two obvious plays, and that would be Taylor Moore at 7,900 and Ryan Palmer at 7,900. Now Ryan Palmer has not had a lot of success at this racetrack, so to speak. I mean, he puts the ball in the water a lot, but I see that 7% ownership, and I just can't resist. So I do have him rated as my second best under 8K guy. And if you're getting that at 7%, I'm just going to have to try it. So Taylor Moore and Ryan Palmer would be the best two. Then I'll throw out three others that look okay. Lucas Glover, but he's 15%. CT Pan, 10%. That's not bad. Chris Kirk at 12%. So the guy who I'm going to play this week, and I just can't resist. There are two guys. One, Stuart Sink at 7,100. I like him this week. And then I just can't resist. How often can you play a guy at 7K flat that just 2 weeks ago you picked to miss the cut at 9K? I mean, it's just perfect. And I've talked about this guy a lot. This is a guy who shows up for me in models sometimes, and I don't play him because of one hole I saw him at the Liberty State Park where he just looked like he had a bad attitude, and every single time that this guy tees it up at 10% plus ownership, I just fade him. And that was Kevin Streelman. And this week he's at 7K. So I am trying that. A guy that might show up, two guys, one guy, Nikolai Hoisgaard. He actually has a twin brother. I don't think the twin is playing Rasmus Hoisgaard. I played him before. I think he's going to be, I don't know how chalky he's going to be. He's had a lot of success in Europe. Now he's coming over here. I don't think I'm going to get too much of that, though. So for me, the sub 7K guys would be actually kind of like an older guy, Stuart Sink, but he's really turned his game around the last couple of years. And Kevin Streelman at 7K flat. And the other guys I mentioned, again, the top guys would be Taylor Moore and Ryan Palmer. Sub 7K, I don't have much, but I will give you one, and this is going to be a sore spot for Bobby. This guy cost him, I can't even calculate how much he cost him. Choking on, was it Saturday? Sunday? I don't remember. But nonetheless, Patrick Rogers, 6,900 is my favorite of the sub 7K guys. I don't think I'm going to have to get to him, right? If I'm not playing these 10Ks, you just really probably shouldn't have to get to the sub 7Ks. Other guys under 7K that will fit my builds, or, well, not my builds, my analysis at least. Adam Schenk looks all right. Mark Hubbard looks okay. But like I said, unless you play guys like Berger and guys above 10K and such in, you really don't have to play 6K. So I'm probably going to avoid that. So let me finish this by doing what we do in the usual I guess podcast, is where we go over I go over the different tiers. First, I'll challenge myself to see who's going to win the tournament. So just based on everything I said, all this other stuff, who is going to win the tournament? I am going to pick Matthew Wolfe to win the tournament. That's going to be the case. Now, in fairness, Daniel Berger does rate to be the most likely winner, if you want to know the truth. But if I'm going to stay on brand, I'm going to pick, of all the guys I talked about, I think I'm going to play Matthew Wolfe to win the tournament. And even though he's under 10K, I'll use somebody else for my 9K and 9,900 and bottom and below to make the top 5. So let's do that. Under 10K to make the top 5, I will use that one for. Okay, I'm flipping between these two. All right, let's have some fun. Let's go with Alex Noren. Just to be a little contrarian. So Alex Noren to make the top 5. Sub 9K to make the top 10. I am gonna be. I'll be responsible here. I'll say Brian Hunt. All right. I do like Bezuidenhout and Woodland, but Harmon is definitely the more consistent of all those guys. So I would go Harmon to make the top, what was that, top 10? Right, Harmon make top 10. Sub 8K to make the top 20. I don't quite have it in me to go to the Streelman for that. I'm going to go with Ryan Palmer to make the top 20 under 8K. And then top under 8K, under 7K to make the cut. Sure, I'll go with Patrick Rogers, even though I'm probably not playing him, but that would be my prediction. And that's pretty much it. You know, just keep an eye out for the for updated projections and updated ownerships and withdrawals and things like that. But I didn't want you guys to have something in your hand, even though it's only Tuesday. And that's about it. Good luck, everybody, and watch for a podcast hopefully from Bobby and Kenny, where he'll probably add other guys to this list, to say the least. All right, that'll do it.